exciting opportunity for us. We got a flight wheels up at 7 o'clock today to get to the West Coast, and we are. Yesterday we did very little except got some volume up in shooting. Sunday's a day off, but we traveled. We didn't get back till 2 or something. So, but I think we're going to be fresh. That's the goal, to be fresh. But we're going to have a 2-hour practice today, half an hour of film, and 15 minutes of walkout or walkthrough, and then a good 2-hour practice, and then get on the big bird and get there. So I'm excited. I think our kids are excited for this opportunity. If we were playing North Carolina, it presents some real challenges for us, but it also, the fact that they had put a good whooping on us would have been really, our guys would have known what they were getting into, and that could have been a good matchup as well, but it is what it is right now. There's 16 teams left, and you're in for a ball game. I think our defense has traveled well, and yesterday we did our shooting drills, and it was the highest numbers we've ever gotten as a team as far as our shooting drills, and it was just a 5-minute shooting drill, but the lowest guy had made 55 threes in 5 minutes, and that was the lowest guy. And the standard used to be 50 until we became good at it. Now it's 60. So, and of our 12 players, 10 got 60. So the day off was good, and we're ready to roll. And let's see what we can do and get ourselves in preparing today and tomorrow, and then thank goodness a 4:37 game on Thursday.
Max. Coach, you talked a little bit after the game about how you've been playing without Mo a lot. Is there anything you've said to him or he said to you, or you guys have worked on to try to keep him on the floor going forward?
Right, we're talking about thousands of times now over 2 years. He's just got some habits where he just wants to put it. It's like he can't control it sometimes, and so he's he's gotten better and better at it. But his people target that. So we're going to do some of our defense. He's going to hold tennis balls in his hands, so that he is not putting his hands on people. And I said in my show yesterday, his fourth foul, he swiped, he just put his hand on the back, and they called it a foul. Well, that's normally not a foul, but if that's the way they're going to call it in the NCAA, then he has to adjust to that as well. So it is, it's important, but it doesn't mean we can't win without him. If he knows he's going to draw fouls, people are going to attack him, but they just can't be the ones that he can control.
Andrew?
Coach, first, just can you provide some context for those shooting numbers? Like, do you find when you do well, that a couple days before a game, it translates?
No, I can't put it all together. But it just showed when you see a guy like Xavier Simpson make 60 out of 80 threes on the run for 5 minutes, that he can make them. So we just, but of course he didn't have DJ Hogue in front of him. So it is, but still, if I've had teams where we didn't have shooters, and the guys would make 40 or 45. They're shooting 50% now. You have 60 for 80, 75% from three. So but we've been there before, and you got to do it in games.
And then we've heard a lot about Coach Yock and the defense. I'm wondering if you could kind of share Coach Haynes, what he's meant to the team in his first year.
I think he's got a personality that the kids love to play for him. They love to go to the basket with him. He can still demonstrate. He can still play. He reminds me so much of Val Jordan in what he brings to the team. Sadi does as well, but a lot of the guy that can step on the court and hoop with him for a little bit. And he certainly isn't what he once was, but he was a terrific player. And so he loves to get out there, and the kids really respect him. But he's very good at what a guard has to do, and I think Xavier's improvement would be right with DeAndre. He's been a big reason why Xavier has improved so much this year.
Thanks.
Right in front of Chris.
Texas A&M's length obviously stands out a little bit. What else have you seen on film from them?
Their offensive rebounding numbers again. Now we said it all year. I'd say, well, okay, if we can hold Purdue to less than 10, we're pretty good. I think we did, and Michigan State and the big rebounding teams. So this is one that probably, because of their length at all the positions, this would be the biggest challenge of all. And so we got to find ways to get them off the board. They do have their point guard has been shooting the ball a lot, shooting the ball well, and but he's not going to make them all. So he's in some ball screen actions where you're in rotations. When you can rebound out of ball screen rotations, that's a difficult thing because you're sort of finding a man sometimes instead of having your guy. So ball's got to bounce your way there too.
Jeff?
Along those lines, they're bigs. What are your impressions of them?
They're terrific. I mean, they're simplistic with what they do with them. They got one near the basket, one with the ball, and one near the other basket, cleaning up rebounds all the time. It's just very simple, smart basketball, and we don't see a lot of that in Michigan. It's very similar to what Michigan State has done over the years, how they've played. It's very similar to how Purdue has played. Purdue might have more of a high-low action, where this might be more like Michigan State action. And although we had success this year, we haven't always had success against having the two big guys right inside, bruisers.
You see the top 3 seeds throughout the bracket that are home now. And does it add to the appreciation of where you are and what you're doing this week?
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have been us that's home right now. So I think we appreciate, once we won the Big Ten championship, I think we were appreciative of any position we were in, any seed we were in. And we wanted to win another championship, we did, and now we're trying to win another championship if we can. And now we're all of a sudden we're one game at a time, but 4 games from doing that. So I think all 16 teams that are in this right now appreciate the opportunity and all believe they can win. Somebody's going to win 4 in a row. Like I said all the time, why not us? We practice hard, we do the right things. Our kids are dedicated. They deserve this just as much as any other team. They got to believe they do deserve it and go get it. Yes, sir.
What do you think about you're going to another time zone, like 3 time zones out the West Coast? You've been through this when you went to Hawaii. How are you gonna get the kids changed for that?
That's a good question, but I think the fact that we can go out there a day and a half early, that we'll leave today, we'll have tomorrow a little bit. It is a 4:30 game. It might have been a problem if we had that 9:30 game, which would have been 1 o'clock or something. I think that we've adjusted enough. We went back and forth. We'll get them on schedule as quickly as we can. I'd rather have that change than going the other way, be a West Coast team going the East.
And how does it feel to have not being the only Beilein going for a championship?
It feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. Yeah, a little concerned about the coach of the year in the family right now. Don't know. I think we're behind that right now. We haven't. If he wins today, he'll be in the Final Four. But we got to get back to that soon too. But at any rate, he's very proud of him. My nephew Billy Borski also won a regional. Got to cut down a net this year as well. Or Billy Beilein.
Chris?
When you're breaking down film of the first 2 games, was there a theme or something that you saw that led to your struggles on offense in those 2 games?
No, you don't know. I mean, we missing Mo in a lot of those games. It changes a lot of what we do, but we made up for it with John's defense. And so, no, there isn't anything. I mean, everybody could execute better. We gotta give credit where credit is due. We played 2 good defensive teams. That's what Calvin's hung his hat on for years at Oklahoma and Indiana and now at Houston, and they're tough to score on. We had a lot of open shots, more than I thought. We had that one span where, Duncan missed 2 open ones after he'd thrown an air ball, and then Xavier had wide open. We couldn't have been more open. None of them were even close, so there wasn't like, oh, we got to fix this or that. No, we'll make those next time.
And then when you come back from New York, there's a huge sense of accomplishment. Obviously, you had a bad scrimmage. How have they responded since?
I can't even make anything out of that stuff. You're going to have, we could be in a real rhythm and playing every 3 days and have a bad game. Bad games happen. I'm just telling you, and I know we want to look for reasons why. They just happen. They just happen. Ask North Carolina. Do you think that they had a bad game? And Texas A&M had a great game. So, and I know that's your guy's job, but there isn't reason sometimes. They're 19-year-old kids. Stuff happens.
Back TV Red with Justin.
Yes.
John, congratulations on the
Thanks.
weekend.
Thanks.
When you on that point, when you hit a shot like that to survive and advance, what's immediately going through your mind? Is it more like, great, we played well enough to get the win, or is it a sense of relief that, okay, we're still alive and we got a chance to keep going?
There's relief after every victory of my life, right? You're just relieved. I'm never happy. I'm just relieved. And that's a sad part of my personality, very sad, that I'll admit to you all, right? But at the same time, it was, I was amazed at the turn of events and a bit astonished the way it all turned out, because you had a great foul shooter at the line, and we just made an incredible shot. But after I I felt like we hadn't played at our best and we still won. There's always a guilt that goes through me. Well, did we really deserve to do that? And then, as I've said a couple times, I remembered, did Harrison did he deserve to make that 40-footer over Karis LeVert with Kentucky? Did Derek Walton deserve to have that ball go in against Oregon last year? That would have put us in the Elite Eight. Yeah. So I'm just happy it evens out over time, and that's just all right. Things evened out.
Is it fair to ask which is a better buzzer beater, Trey Burke or Jordan Poole?
Well, I think this was only because the game was over. We didn't have to go through overtime, right? But the Trey Burke was put us into overtime, and then we did win it in overtime, and we had to survive that as well. They went for 3. It was only a 2-point game. We had to win that. So I think that this one slightly for right, and maybe because it's more recent as well. But Trey certainly propelled us onto something great. Maybe this will too.
Back over here with John.
How much might pace of play affect this game? I know A&M likes to push it pretty good.
Well, yeah, but their numbers don't show that. Their numbers show that they're a middle-paced game, and that they're scoring 73 and 72 and giving up 73. I think those are the numbers. I mean, that I expect this game won't be in the 90s, but that's probably where it is. We're in a similar pace, so I don't think that there's going to be a pace of the game. They do run really well. I think the advantage they have, they know those 3 big guys are going to get rebounds, so the guards can leak out and get the break going. We've been pretty good at defensive transition, but we don't expect to go in there and kill them on the offensive boards. But we haven't done that with anybody, and it's okay.
Straight in the middle of the TV.
John, Jay Williams on Sunday used the term the magic of Michigan, I believed it was, to kind of describe Jordan's game winner, and even going further back to just the run this program's been on since the first Big Ten tournament win. So with that, just how special has this been to you, these last 15 months of all this group has accomplished from where
you're going back? Yeah, you're going back 13. Yeah, it is. We go back to probably our game where we lost on the full court shot to Northwestern, and there couldn't be a lower moment, right, for us. That was a game we really felt we needed to get in, and there we had a couple opportunities to win it, and that was pretty tough ride back from the airport, and got home late that night. I think it was a late game, and next thing you know, we're beating Nebraska, and we're playing crashes, and we haven't looked back. So I don't know what our record is since then, but it's got to be pretty good. So but to say you go through runs like this as a coach where you can go good and bad with it too. We've had a run of injuries in a couple of years that, it's part of it, and I try to stay the same through it all. So I'm not like super excited about this, just like I didn't get super down when I'm looking at Karis and Derek looking on the bench, sitting there watching, and we got Spike Albrecht's out there with Muhammad Ali in the backcourt, and we're trying to beat some pretty good teams.
Bojo?
Jen, you mentioned almost feeling guilty when you win, when you didn't play your best. When you do win without playing your best, and you've struggled a little bit, as a coach, do you feel like that means it's coming?
Same way I feel about the question there. I feel like it's just like a 3-point shooter. Duncan misses 2 in a row. I said, let's get him the ball. Now, if he makes 2 in a row, I said, let's get him the ball too. But I think you figure that it's the odds are that you're going to play better, and you're just going to go through these things. And if there is truth to what Chris was talking about the layoff and things like this could cause these issues. Well, now we don't have an excuse for that, right? We're back and played, and now we play again on sort of a normal prep for games, not a 2-week, not 11-day prep. We got a 2 or 3 day prep.
Jeff?
Quick question, then a longer one. Have you ever done the tennis ball thing before?
Yeah, they did it the other day in practice, and I just told Luke, let's do it again, just so he is with him and with Duncan's done the same thing. If you remember, Xavier had this issue last year, putting his hands on people. I think in high school ball they allow a lot more of it. Certainly in AAU they do, I'm all for it. Do you remember the times we'd play and I'd complain that we couldn't move because people are grabbing us all the time? They don't let you grab anymore, and so but it also cannot get some of our better players on the bench.
And then, how has Teskey improved defensively?
I think he's one of those guys too. He had 2 really bad fouls where when you take a charge or you wall up and a guy hits you in the chest, your first movement involuntary, your hands go forward. So we're trying to teach him to take it and push your palms up at the ceiling. You got to go right with your palms to the ceiling, just so that you don't do that. Because if he's here, he's a load to score against. But he had 2, and you know the whole idea of everyone wants to block a shot, but this is really hard to score against. So that's where he's gotten better, and he can. I think he's sensed now that he can't block as many shots as he did in high school, but he can affect more shots, and that's where it's been a big difference. And he's got, you know, he's only got size 13 shoes, and for a big guy, he moves his feet pretty well, and that has been really helpful too. That he can get around, get in front of some people, especially one-on-one in the post.